There's a town in America that vanished overnight. A town with streets, homes, stores, but no people. A place where smoke still rises from beneath the ground. Hardworking men labored in the pits, bringing home a paycheck to feed their families. The town had schools, stores, and even baseball teams. Generations of children ran through its streets and played in its parks. Life was good in Centralia. That is until one day everything changed forever. A place so dangerous it was erased from official maps. This is the story of Centralia. Centralia was a small mining town in Pennsylvania, founded in 1866. For generations, coal mining was everything. It was the heartbeat of the town. The town's zip code was officially removed from the postal service. Even the cemetery was in danger. Headstones cracked and crumbled as the ground split open beneath them. Something had to be done. By 1964, the town was pretty much abandoned. But the fire kept burning. The answer was nowhere. The only solution was to let nature take its course. Officials made the heartbreaking decision to demolish most of Centralia. That way, at least the land wouldn't be wasted. You might think that after all this time, Centralia is nothing but an abandoned ghost town. Well, that's not entirely true. Centralia isn't exactly abandoned. When you fly over Centralia, you'll see a landscape that looks like something out of a post-apocalyptic movie. Smoke billows from the ground. So why don't the remaining residents just pack up and leave? Over the years, he's watched as his friends and neighbors have abandoned their homes and moved away. But he never considered leaving himself. But after the fire, they had no choice but to leave. They rebuilt their house on higher ground, but they never forgot the town that had been lost. After all, they're the last people standing between Centralia and oblivion. Stores closed, schools shut down, and the post office was demolished. He spends his days working in his yard and his nights reminiscing about the good old days. He misses the sound of children laughing in the streets and the smell of fresh-baked bread coming from the local bakery. Most of all, he misses the people. It felt like Centralia was disappearing into thin air. But Bill refused to give up hope. He kept his house and his memories. The younger generation has moved away and the older residents have passed away. Now, Bill is one of the last links to the town's past. And he hoped that someday things would go back to normal. Well, the truth is some of them don't want to go. Do you think it's brave to stay in a dangerous place like Centralia? Or do you think it's foolish? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more amazing stories. Roads have collapsed. Trees have been burned and twisted. There's not a single person in sight. It's like the entire town just vanished overnight. They raised their families here. And they've seen the town through the best and worst of times. Leaving would be like giving up on the past. And that's something they're not willing to do. But he's not afraid. He's proud to be a part of this town's history. In fact, the town is still listed on official maps and it still exists in the United States Census Bureau database. And by 1992, things were really looking bad. They clung to their homes, their property, their memories. And as the bulldozers moved in, these brave souls stood in their way. A few of them actually made it through. Today, less than 5 residents remain. They're holding on to the past while the world around them literally collapses into the fiery abyss. It was May 27, 1962. Someone smelled smoke rising from an abandoned coal mine. At first, it wasn't much more than a nuisance. Their homes, their businesses, their entire way of life was being destroyed right before their eyes. The U.S. government stepped in and declared Centralia uninhabitable. Everyone had to leave. They located the abandoned mine and tried to seal it up. But it was too late. The damage was done. The mine was filled with highly flammable coal. And before long, it erupted in flames. But then the smoke started pouring out, seeping into the foundations of homes and filling the streets. No one knew how big the mine system was or how far the fire would go. But they did know that tons of coal were being consumed every day. And that meant the fire would burn for a very long time. People tried to ignore it, but there was no escaping the smell. Residents grew sick and desperate. So the mayor called for help. A team of federal scientists arrived in Centralia to find the source of the smoke. The fire burned out of control, spreading through miles of underground tunnels. Residents watched in horror as the fire raged across their town. More than 1,000 residents were evacuated. Many of them never returned. The roads buckled as the ground beneath them cracked and crumbled. Buildings caved in. Trees snapped and died. But where do you start when a town is being consumed by an uncontrollable fire? But some people refused to leave. Now, you might think this is the end of the story. But what's left of the town doesn't look anything like it did back in 1962. And that's why Centralia is now known as the ghost town that never was. For more than half a century, these brave souls have refused to abandon their homes. And who can blame them? They grew up in Centralia. One of the remaining residents is a man named Bill. He grew up in Centralia and he's seen the town change in ways he never imagined. Bill and his wife raised 3 sons in Centralia. They always planned to stay here forever. As the years went on, the town became more and more deserted. But sadly, that day never came. Today, Bill lives alone in his house. Over the years, the town's population has dwindled to a handful of people. He knows that he may be the last person standing between Centralia and oblivion. As we wrap up our story, we want to leave you with one final thought.